politics aside, the upcoming election marks another significant milestone for women of color, with Vice President Harris at the top of the ticket. One, what do you make of her historic candidacy? And as far as potential redos of 2020 go, are you confident our courts will faithfully uphold the votes if contested?
I am confident that the courts will faithfully uphold the law, because that is our duty. That's what we do. And I know a little bit about being a first. You know, I think a lot of people were very happy about my appointment, in part because they saw it as progress for the country. That, you know, there was a time in which Black women wouldn't have had this opportunity. And so I'm not only so honored, but whenever we see someone moving into a position where no one has ever been, it gives a lot of people hope.
Like Obama.
It gives a lot of people hope. I mean, I talked about Judge Motley. She argued, I think, something like 11 cases in the United States Supreme Court, and she won 10 of them.
Wow.
She was unbelievable. But she grew up in a time in which it really was not going to be possible for her to be appointed to the Supreme Court. So I'm a first, not because I'm the first person who could ever do this job, but because our times have changed, our society has changed.
And that's why it's important that we maintain a hold on history, teaching of history.
Justice Jackson, I want to ask you about last term. The Supreme Court weighed in on the former president's claim of absolute immunity in a split 6-3 decision. They granted the broad immunity for presidents for official acts. You dissented. You called it a 5-alarm fire. Based on this decision, could a president, if acting in an official capacity, carry out any number of illegal activities? And do you think this precedent applies to senior White House staff?
Oh, I can't answer that question. Let me just tell you why. Because, you know, judges and especially justices really don't comment on factual scenarios that might come before the court. So I can't tell you now, you know, in this setting. We wait for actual cases because we don't want people to think that I've prejudged any situation.
Because you follow the rules.
Because I follow the rules.
I mean, can you speak to your dissent specifically?
Yes. So, you know, I dissented, which means I disagreed with the majority view that there are certain circumstances in which presidents are entitled to immunity. And my dissent really was trying to highlight what I think is the difference between a defense and an immunity. My view, as I expressed in my dissent, was that we have a criminal justice system in which everyone is subject to the law. And if there are special circumstances in any situation, we have recognized some defenses, self-defense, you know, defense of others. There are certain legal situations in which a person can be excused. And maybe there's a situation in which if someone is president and something happens and they need to use certain authorities or powers, that could be a defense as well. The majority instead decided that, no, we're going to essentially create a new system for presidents and former presidents that is such that they are not subject to the law under certain circumstances. They are immune from even being asked about or prosecuted for certain criminal activity. And I just thought that seemed like it was inconsistent, at least with my view of our constitutional norms.
Looking at Justice Jackson, she's the first Black lady to be on the Supreme Court. First ever African American lady who sat on that position. She said that since as a little girl, she came out with this point that since as a little girl, she has been obsessed. Her father was a lawyer, and when she was little, her father went to law school. She could see the father reading books upon books. She wanted to be a lawyer, but when she get into it, she wanted to be a judge. When she read about this African American lady who really motivated her, and she wanted to be. That's why Whoopi is good for her children. Kept somebody like which was a small girl to go ahead and until today and fulfill her dream. Being that person, she said that it's not easy, especially it's a privilege, but at the same time it's not easy. She had to maneuver her way. She have always maneuvered her way. She knows she's a hard worker. With her husband, everything, she will maneuver her way. She have 2 daughters to go to work and still be that good mother. She said one time she was pregnant for 7 months with the other daughter, and she called and they made that she's on her way coming, and she wanted to pass to the store. But when she went to the store, instead she found herself, she was sleeping in the car. And she said some roles she has done some type of things that she knows that it's by the grace of God that she found herself in that environment. And she cannot even explain. There's a lot to say it. Most of the time, they were happy for her. Somebody like Sonny said that's a good one, because Donald Trump talk about black job. So being a judge in the Supreme Court is also being a black job. So somebody like Joe Bear was trying to say that, what about the only black man? We all know he's talking about. How does he behave also? How does he react in the Supreme Court? Oh, he doesn't have the same character like the way Jackson has. Everyone just say he should they just laugh over it because that was just a comedy. Joe Bear was trying to do that. All along, according to Justice Jackson, when there is an event like they have to take this particular decision for certain cases, it's a trial because you be at the position to take that major decision. Sometimes you're fighting within you. Sometimes they are there doing those. So they're asking her that, how does she feel being in power? She said, anyway, everyone likes to be in power, but she don't take it for granted. When she walks to that office every day and come up, she has one work with the justice, but I say working with the justice is different than her putting on the show. This has been a dream since as a little girl. She wanted to be on Broadway as a judge, the only judge in the Supreme Court, and God granted her her desire. The women in the view were just saying that most of the time, whatever you ask for, God is going to give you, you're going to answer your prayer. They talk about how she visualizes election. She said basically for her, she just hope the right person, the right candidate is going to be the one who is going to win with the right values. So actually, what do you think about this? And then she also said very one important point, that being a black lady, most people have mistaken her as a secretary. But she doesn't mind. She was trained and she was raised that when people make you get mad, don't focus your anger on them. Just subside it and move on, because they cannot make you who you are. Only God is responsible for you. Let me see your opinion in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe and share the video. Thank you very much. God bless you.